The sixth Great Lake, USS Princeton versus China, the morning sun glittered off the South China Sea, painting waves in pale gold. The USS Princeton cut through the water with quiet authority, her steel hull parting the surface like a knife. Routine patrol, some might say. Freedom of navigation, others would call it. But at 0923 hours, routine became dangerous. Radar screens flickered with a sudden contact. A Chinese Type 052D destroyer accelerating from 18 to 30 knots, a ghost rising from the horizon. The Jon Chong, the operators whispered, had just received orders from Beijing. Intercept and intimidate. Make the Americans blink first. They were about to learn that some waters are not to be challenged. Inside Princeton's Combat Information Center, the tactical action officer's eyes scanned the screen with calm precision. Every vertical launch cell, all 122 of them, loaded and ready, formed a silent but lethal orchestra. Calculations ran through the minds of the officers. At current speed and heading, the Chinese ship would be in weapons range in 14 minutes. Their YJ-18 anti-ship missiles could cover the distance in under 4. But the SM-6s on Princeton could engage first, intercept, neutralize. The numbers were terrifying for anyone who didn't know the American way of war. The captain leaned back slightly, hands resting lightly. "Let's see how badly they want to embarrass themselves," he said. Confidence, drilled into every American sailor, filled the room like an invisible shield. The South China Sea was crowded. Merchant ships, tankers, container vessels, and all depended on this strike group for safe passage. Every civilian life and cargo shipment was a silent reminder of why restraint could be the deadliest tool in the hands of the disciplined. Within minutes, the cooperative engagement capability linked every ship in the Nimtz Carrier Strike Group. The 146-ton carrier itself adjusted flight operations with precise timing, destroyers repositioned around her like predators guarding a queen. Above, the E-2D Hawkeye scanned 400 miles of ocean, giving operators a godlike view of the entire battlefield. Chinese aircraft launched from the Shandong, J-15s climbing hard, struggling with reduced fuel and payload from the ski-jump catapults, impressive on posters, fragile in reality. American pilots saw them coming, connected across Link 16, each sensor shared, each threat catalogued. The technological mismatch was brutal. F-18E Super Hornets climbed fully armed and fueled, while the J-15s barely clawed into altitude. And the EA-18G Growlers moved silently, electronic warfare packages humming, twisting the Chinese radar picture into static. Ghosts multiplied on their screens. Real aircraft vanished. Phantom contacts appeared everywhere. On the surface, the Jon Chong destroyer hesitated. Radars locked for mere seconds before realizing the Americans were not playing. A single missile could sink it. A dozen. Vertical launch cells could turn it into a coral reef in minutes. Below, a Type 039 diesel-electric submarine crept noisily, snorkeling too close. The Princeton's SQ-89 sonar suite had tracked it for over an hour, plotting its every move, cataloging its acoustic signature. If war had broken out, the submarine's captain would have had 12 seconds to rethink his life. The tactical picture was a textbook disaster for the Chinese. Surface, air, and subsurface forces had boxed themselves in. Carrier northwest, destroyer west, submarines southwest. American forces, silent and methodical, held all cards. By 0937, flight decks erupted into coordinated chaos that only a U.S. carrier could orchestrate. F-18E Super Hornets rocketed into the sky at 45-second intervals. Catapults hissed, steam clouds roared, and aircraft became extensions of American will. sensors scanned, weapons systems synced, data streamed in real time. Every Chinese pilot was fighting blind, chasing ghosts, while real threats circled above, invisible. The Americans executed the wall, high, medium, low formations, providing overlapping coverage and mutual support. The Chinese bunched, visible, predictable. For every move, American pilots had already calculated counters, energy states, firing solutions. The air itself seemed choreographed, a ballet with death as the silent music. By 0943, RC-135 rivet joint aircraft confirmed Chinese requests for clearance to buzz American ships. The irony was lost only on those reading from Beijing. Every American pilot understood initiative. Waiting for permission to attack was not an option. Every second they delayed, the tactical situation worsened for them. At 0947, the Jon Chong crossed a line. Fire control radar locked onto the Nimtz with a precision that was equivalent to pointing a gun at someone's chest. The electromagnetic gun was loaded. Inside Princeton, the crew documented timestamps, signal bearings, and threat qualities. Every vertical launch cell ready, SM-6 missiles primed, SM-2s on standby. The Chinese destroyer was seconds away from the edge of survival, but American restraint held, discipline tempered readiness. Airspace was chaos. One J-15 broke formation in desperation, diving toward an F-18. The American pilot, trained to think in milliseconds, inverted and rolled through, perfectly aligned in a firing position for 3 seconds. Discipline held his finger off the trigger. Professionalism outweighed impulse. The submarine Type 039 surfaced briefly, a black shadow breaching the waves 6 nautical miles from Shandong. For 90 seconds, the psychological effect was absolute. American mastery of undersea domains, patience, and stealth was a demonstration in plain sight. The sub submerged again, invisible and unchallenged. In the air, American fighters dominated. Maneuver after maneuver, turn after turn, the Chinese jets burned precious fuel, exhausted their endurance, and retreated. By 1623, the Shandong's strike group withdrew, citing scheduled exercises. But every operator knew the truth. They had attempted intimidation and were met with an unmatchable combination of technology, discipline, and lethal restraint. The South China Sea, for a few hours, had become America's 6th Great Lake. Waves shimmered, ships continued their commerce, and the Nimtz sailed on, a silent guardian of the international order, a reminder that some waters are not to be challenged.